I wrote in 2006, I published a book called State of War, as you mentioned, which was about kind of the first few years of the war on terror and many of the abuses of power that the Bush administration and the CIA and other parts of the government were involved in secretly. Revealed the NSA domestic spying and talked a lot about other aspects of what the government was doing. Pay Any Price I kind of look at almost as a sequel to State of War. It's more about the corruption that has come in the war on terror 15 years after 9/11. We now, I think the theme of this book really is that in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, America thought we were going to have a search for justice or a search for retribution against the terrorists, whatever phrase you want to use, that we all felt at that moment. And 15 years later, it's become a search for cash and a search for power. And there are a lot of people who have found that the war on terror has presented enormous opportunities for them and have taken full advantage of it. The war on terror has become a permanent state of being for the United States. And we have this sense of an endless war that we are paying for in hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars. And so what I tried to reveal in Pay Any Price is to turn over the rock, lift up the rock, and show you what's really going on behind that, the economic and financial side of the war on terror and the degree to which people are making a lot of money based on the war on terror, and people in the government who have used it to increase their power or status. So I think it's both financial and status and power are all kind of wrapped up into different motivations. One of the problems I have seen is that we as a country have allowed fear to take hold, and so the balance that has traditionally existed between civil liberties and security has been badly skewed by the government and by kind of this endless fear-mongering over the threat of terrorism. I often try to compare this time period to the early Cold War period, now known as the McCarthy era, when immediately in the early days of the Cold War, right after World War II, many Americans didn't really understand the Soviet threat. And because we didn't really fully know much about the Soviets as a country, we allowed fear-mongering to take hold, and epitomized by Senator Joseph McCarthy's paranoid witch hunts against people. And it increased, that sense of fear increased the demands for greater involvement in foreign wars like Vietnam. And I think today, in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, we've had a similar period of fear-mongering, because we have the sense that we don't really understand the terrorist threat. And it's similar in some ways to our failure to understand the Soviet threat in the late 40s and early 50s. And because we as a country don't fully understand the Muslim world or what's happening among Islamic radicals, we have allowed ourselves to treat them as an abstraction. And when you treat something that important as an abstraction, it becomes very easy to conduct fear-mongering about that.